good, very good. Today we're here to talk about why it's just got so much harder to get a loan. So it's been already quite difficult to get a loan to purchase property, both for investors and first-time home buyers and some other categories. Basically, it's just got so much harder because banks start doing what is called credit crunch. Basically, they go through your bank statements and take your actual expenses average to the last 3 months and use that as your fixed living expenses. So what it was before, it's been like that before, right? So it isn't really anything new, but recently banks have been quite flexible on expenses, so only taking proposed living expenses and fixed living expenses, and not taking regular discretionary income expenses as fixed living expenses. Are you confused? Okay, very good, because here I can clarify something. Basically, before, banks said for any given situation, for example, 2 adults and 2 children per month, you're bound to spend that much. The rest is your discretionary income. Fixed income was something like what your future mortgage will be, what your utilities will be, rates, insurances, servicing your vehicle, and other bits and pieces. The rest was discretionary. For example, if you paid ballet lessons for your daughter, that wasn't fixed living expense, because logically enough, if you get mortgage and it's harder to pay, you stop paying for lessons and you go to YouTube University and your daughter learns to dance that way. Well, anyhow, but nowadays, if you show on your bank statement that you've paid 3 months of ballet lessons, they considered your fixed living expenses. Fair or not, this is how it is now. Also, for investment properties, the deposits have gone up to 40%. So to buy investment property, you have to have 40% deposit in cash or equity. There are still solutions to have smaller deposit, but watch that in a different episode about alternative to main banks lenders. Now, next thing, borrowing with less than 20% deposit for first-time home buyers became very, very difficult. Can't say impossible, but quite difficult. That's because only that much budget bank has to lend to high-risk categories. High-risk categories being less than 10% deposit. Why is that? Because when you are buying a property, it's the purchase price is considered 100%. So if the bank was to sell the property, the bank wants to have a little margin to make sure they get their money back. So this is where 20% deposit is coming from, a loan to value ratio. So bank doesn't want to mortgage 100% of the value of the property, but just close to it, like 80%. However, with prices around, for example, Wellington being $1 million, you need 200,000 deposit. And if you unhealthy incomes to service your loan, and it's getting more and more difficult. For example, in the last year, prices grew, God knows how many, 10%, 10, 20, or there are a lot of numbers floating around, but they definitely grew. But salaries didn't, not as much as houses. Mine didn't. Mine didn't because I don't have a salary, but that's okay. What I mean that our incomes most of the time have not kept up with the inflation. And definitely we didn't have time to save extra 100,000 last year when we were looking at a house with 100,000 healthy deposit, or so we thought. So this is what's causing the difficulties. Also, interest rates have more than doubled. We were looking just recently at about around 2%, and now we're looking at interest rates over 4%, between 4 and 5, and even over. In the past, we did have even higher interest rates. So basically, we've enjoyed a couple of years on really low interests, and I hope many had time to take advantage of that. So, but those times have gone, and we don't know when they are to return, if they are to return. So basically what that means is that on your income, you can afford less and less. So if before banks apply something like what they call the stress, like a stress test, they check your income at higher interest rate. For example, when it was around 3%, bank looked at don't know, roughly 6% interest rate, kind of asking a question of, will you be able to still afford your loan if it is at 6%? And if that was the case, you would have gotten your approval. So now they're looking even at a higher test rate, and all of a sudden your let's say both income adults, one is on 90,000 a year, another one on 170,000 a year, no longer buys you that same very house, and it all has changed really, really fast. So if last year you were in good position to buy a house with 100,000 and 150,000 salary, this year is no longer so. Is it all doom and gloom? No, of course not. There are still solutions and there are still possibilities. It's important to work with your trusted financial advisor and your personal broker who will get to know your situation and work with you to make things work, or to prepare you to create a situation where it works for you as soon as possible.